Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is Monday, December 30th, and it is that time of the year, the new year. We're about to start 2025, which means a lot of us will be doing pantry challenges in January and maybe on through February for some of you. I know I will be. So I just wanted to chat with you about how I'm kicking it off. This is my third year doing the pantry challenge. It was started by Jessica over at Three Rivers Homestead. And the whole purpose is to stay out of the grocery stores as much as you possibly can and eat from your pantry, freezers, and whatever gardening items you may have put up during the past year. And in essence, just use up what you have on hand so that we can all save money, avoid food waste, and make room for new food, spring, summer gardens, etc. So those are my three reasons for doing it. And I guess you could say my bonus reason is because I just love the sense of community that comes from participating in this challenge. There are all kinds of channels on YouTube talking about it. And I just think it's such a hoot to see what everybody has when they kick off the challenge and where they end up by the end of January, February, as well as how much money they've potentially saved. So let me talk to you a little bit about what I am doing to kick this off. If you've been following my channel, you may have seen the video I put up early December. I traveled for the holidays. I was gone for 10 days seeing family in Kansas City. So I really started this challenge in essence early because I wanted to clear through all of the perishables in my fridge. So I'll be starting off my first week of meal planning with those meats from my Bits and Bites bin. And I'll review that with you on the next video. This one is really just about how I approach getting ready to do this pantry challenge. One of the first things you should do is decide how long you want to try to do this. Some go through January, some go through February too. Of course, it really depends on how much food you have on hand. But at the very least, I recommend trying to do it for 1 week. Even if you aren't a stockpiler, you probably have enough groceries on hand. If you just use that discipline, you'll be able to stay out of the store for a week. Most people can, at least 1 week. I challenge everyone to try to do that much. I'm just cooking for one, but I don't go out to eat. I don't buy so much as a donut or a Coke at a quick shop. I really truly eat every single meal from my home, unless it's a special occasion or I'm traveling like I just did. And I would say on average, I am spending just on groceries, not including household items, toiletries, or pet food. I am spending about $70 to $80 a week just for myself. So let's call it 80. If I stay out of the store for 1 week, that's 80 bucks. If I stay out of the store for a month, that's $320. Once you're a couple of weeks into the challenge, you know, everybody wants a little fresh produce, a little dairy. So set yourself a little budget for how much you're willing to spend on those items if you are, and stick to it. My budget will be $20 a month, dairy and fresh produce. And the reason for that is I have a ton of frozen vegetables that I rarely get into because I really prefer fresh. But meanwhile, I spent the money on the frozen so I would have things on hand. And I know that those don't hold up in the freezer nearly as well as meats, for example. And I will not use those if I have a lot of fresh veg on hand. So I am definitely going to focus on that. So let's show you what I'm up to. So step one of the pantry challenge for me every year is to go through my refrigerator and assess my perishables. But if you've been following my channel, you know I did that right before I left for Kansas City. So I don't need to do that. I know what I have in here, which is basically quite a lot of dairy and a lot of tortillas and eggs, drinks that don't really matter, and basically nothing in my produce drawer except for a bag of cranberries, which I will be turning into cranberry juice today, and a big bag of carrots and a few wrinkly peppers from my garden. So I will probably do a Sprouts run this morning and see if I can snag any kind of produce on clearance. And if not, I'll just be eating from my freezer. I have kale out in my garden for at least 2 or 3 weeks of salads. And also my deep freezer and side-by-side freezer are stuffed full. I have a lot of frozen veggie, but not nearly as much as I used to have on hand, but I definitely need to focus on using up the frozen veg. So let's get started with a little Sprouts run. So I'm here at Sprouts, hoping to find some clearance veg and really hoping to find some cranberries on clearance. So let's head in there and see if I can get lucky. Well, guys, I'm not seeing any clearance stickers except for one on this bag of carrots, and that's not much of a clearance price. I think Mondays are not the day for Sprouts on clearance veg, so I'm going to clear out of here and head to Aldi. I haven't been to Aldi for 3 weeks, so let's see what we can find. All right, so first thing in the door, they have avocados on sale here. I'm going to snag a couple of these because I don't have any. I am feeling veggie deficient after being in Kansas City. The men in my family, like most, aren't really into veg, so I am really wanting some broccoli. Oh boy, $1.99 a pound. And this stuff is not looking too good. You better eat it today or tomorrow at best. So I think I'm going to skip this at that price. And right next to the broccoli, we have heads of cauliflower for $4.19. Wow, things have really gone up, haven't they? Well, I don't know if you can call it a green veg because it's not green on the inside, but I am going to default to some of this zucchini because I only have a small amount in my Bits and Bites bin. And I just can't come to Aldi without checking out the finds aisle. And boy, you can sure tell it's the new year around the corner because they have gotten in all of the workout equipment they usually do this time of year. And if you're in the market for something like this, definitely check out Aldi first because their prices are so good compared to Walmart or any other store in this category. You definitely want to hit Aldi first. They have a lot of post-Christmas storage stuff, so if you're in the market for that, be sure and check Aldi out. Now on to the meats aisle because I'm hoping to get some salmon. And I'm seeing some clearance stickers, you guys. It's always a great day when I see those. So I'm going to have a look-see all along the meat aisle here and see if I can get lucky. I don't need eggs, but I always like to check out the price since they're all over the place these days. $4 a dozen, limit 2. Oh boy, you guys. And I don't see a whole lot in the back. I guess that's why there's a limit. And the specialty eggs, unlike a couple months ago, these have really shot up as well. So, doggone it. All the more reason to do the pantry challenge, right? All right, I'm back from my little Sprouts and Aldi run, and I got lucky in unexpected ways. So let me spin you around and show you what. So let's start with Sprouts. I think the rule of thumb is you're not going to get lucky on Mondays at Sprouts. But I think because I managed to get in on just a smidge of the last of the holiday stuff that was on sale, pretty much all of that was gone. But I did find this pate when it was on a BOGO, which I adore. Really high-end brand here. And duck liver and pork mousse, and I know this is most people's no way would I eat that, but I happen to have pernicious anemia, so it is very important for me to get a lot of iron, and if I can get it from food, it absorbs much better than trying to supplement with it. And these have 30% of the iron I need for the day in just 2 ounces. So this is about 6 servings. And of course, New Year's Eve is tomorrow night. I have a friend coming over. I don't know if she eats pate, but I'll get out some cheese and crackers and a little bit of pate. And then I snagged a pint of these organic blueberries. These were on sale. They were $4. normally $6.99. So the savings here and there, I saved about a total of $12. And here's my little receipt. I saved almost as much as I spent, so I'm gonna call that good. And of course, it's sort of ironic to start off a pantry challenge with a grocery haul. But let me say, this is exactly why we should do our pantry challenges in January and February, to clear out room in the freezer for when we find really great deals on meats, you guys. Check this out. Salmon was on my list for my New Year's Eve dinner, and my friend and I love this Mediterranean salmon from Aldi. I had planned to get one package, but when I saw these 50% off stickers, you guys, I was squealing because I was completely out of salmon. I eat this on the weekly. If only they'd had more. And then just because these were 50% off and I can always season these however I want. And then they also had the sourdough bread 50% off and $2 off of these little apple pies. You know, I just got home last night. I don't have any desserts. And then these, crazily enough, I just happened to go down the Aldi Finds food aisle, you know, on my way to the register, and glanced down and saw these were marked down to $1.37. They had been $5.49, and look how fabulous these chocolates are. It says they're good until the end of May. I saved $4.20 a box, and there's 12 chocolates in a box. I may keep a couple back out of the freezer for my two co-workers. I may give each one of them one of these for Valentine's Day, and I'm going to keep one out for tomorrow night. But there are two different varieties, a winter classic and a holiday classic. So I'll probably save these back for the Valentine's because they have lots of pink in there and they don't say holiday, you know. That's the game plan there. But I am so excited to have found all of these on clearance. And just on these chocolates alone, I saved $24.72. And then on these other items, I saved $28.58. If you add all that up, I saved a total of $53.30 just right here. But let's talk about the rest of the stuff I bought. Because I couldn't get any broccoli, I got some zucchini. And the peppers today, $2.69. They're relatively small. I had to dig through to find one bag with a fairly large, normal sized pepper. No red peppers to be had. They were all orange and yellow. But I have used up all of the peppers in my Bits and Bites bin. So I can't make it through January with no peppers. That's a go-to for me. And of course, the vitamin C is so good for us. And I was down to one onion in my pantry. So I had to have some onions. That should get me through most of January, I think. And the avocados were on sale today for, I think it was 65 cents. So I had to snag a couple of those. And then this coconut breaded shrimp, this is so good. Believe it or not, only $3.69 for a box. And then just a couple little stock up items because I'm almost out. Foil, quart-sized bags, I use those more than anything. This was $2.85, and of course, who wants to eat apple pie without vanilla ice cream? Not me. Just because, you know, I was hungry when I went shopping, I confess. So I'll probably have this for a brunch lunch this afternoon. I'll probably eat about half of it. And then black-eyed peas, $1.15, I think they were in the store today. And, you know, New Year's Eve, gotta have those on New Year's Day for good luck. So I'll throw those in a pot of water and let them soak. And then I'll cook them overnight in a crock pot with some ham and whatnot. And then these ground beef, this has gone up. It used to be $15.99, it's $18.99, but you guys, the quality, if you do the math, it's just, you can't say no. And I know I'm doing a pantry challenge, but the whole purpose is to not go grocery shopping through January and February and use up what you have. Well, I was completely out of ground beef. So when I saw this, I had to snag it. Organic, grass-fed, 93.7, and no antibiotics, yada yada. You just can't get better quality ground beef than that anywhere for the price you can get it at Aldi. They don't always have this. It's kind of one of those food finds they get on and off. These are also 20-ounce packages. And so what is that? 60 ounces. I'm gonna have to do the math for you guys and put it up here. But you're not gonna find that quality of beef anywhere at that price. So I'm really happy with my Aldi run. The receipt. So yeah, I saved $53.30 on all of those clearance items. And I spent a total of $85. Now let's talk toiletries. All right, so we're out here in my garage because I wanted to just quickly mention, it's up to all of you, of course, and how you want to do your pantry challenge. There aren't any actual rules. You make the rules. But one of the things I am trying to focus on is to stay out of the stores completely, because you know how that is. You go in there, you see something you didn't plan on buying, and you put it in your cart. So one of the ways that I am going to help myself avoid temptation to go into the stores is I've also taken an inventory of the toiletry items that I have on hand. Let me spin you around and just give you a quick. Okay, so first and foremost, paper products, right? We've got to have our toilet paper. I have plenty on hand to get me through February. It's paper towels to get me through for a month, Kleenex for a month. And then over here on toiletry products, I have plenty of shampoo, conditioner, laundry products. I am good for a solid 2 months, no problem. And then I've just got a little overflow on some dry goods over here. So no reason for me to need to hit the stores other than a little produce and dairy. But like I said, that is not going to happen, hopefully for a month. Let's see how long I can go staying out of the store. So as you're inventorying your refrigerator, freezers, and pantries, make a note of a few things. First, what you have that is expired or close to expiring. Second, what you have that is the oldest, and by that obviously expiration dates apply, but I mean more in the idea of like meats, for example, in your freezer. So meats sitting around can get freezer burnt in the freezer, even though they're still technically good to eat, meaning they're not spoiled, they won't taste as good. So focus on the oldest meats in your freezer and use those up first. Second, anything that you have that is overstocked. I have way too many cream of soups and way too many Jello puddings. So I'm going to try to incorporate at least one of each of those every single week as I move through this pantry challenge. And also, as you're going through your freezer, make a note of how much protein you have. Now you can do this as formally or informally as you like. I did a detailed freezer inventory last year. And this year, I don't really feel the need to drill down that specifically because I have a relatively good idea. But for example, if your family eats more chicken than they do any other kind of meat, take a quick look and see how much of that you have on hand. And then have a glance at the other meats, and then you'll have a rough idea of how many weeks your family can go eating on those proteins before you're going to reach a point where you really feel like you need to go to the store because you just don't have anything to make meals with. Chances are most of us have a lot more food on hand than we even realize. It's so easy just to keep going to that store every week because it's something we all do. Because we're out of this or that, we pick up extras along the way, right? So that's the whole point of this challenge, to eliminate putting those extras in and focus on using up what you have. And just for fun and motivation, at the end of January, compare that to how much you spent in January. Hopefully, not much at all. It could be that you don't go to the store at all. I have yet to pull that off during a pantry challenge for an entire month, but I would love to see if I could do it. We'll see. I am definitely not hitting a store for the first 2 weeks in January for anything, not even broccoli. So, yeah, I'll be checking in with you guys at least twice during the month of January, if not weekly, on how I'm doing. And I hope you all will comment and let me know if you're planning on participating in the challenge. And as we go along, I would love to hear how you're doing and how much you're saving and what you've kind of come to realize as you go along through the challenge. I know every year I learn something new, maybe an area where I know I need to stop buying because it's just not something I'm eating, or maybe just the opposite. I need to stock up more of that whenever I find it on a good sale, like that salmon today, because I know I'm going to eat that and it's not going to linger around and end up being a year old in the bottom of my deep freezer. Anyway, guys, that's it in a nutshell for my January 2025 Pantry Challenge kickoff. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and I wish you all a very happy new year. And I'll see you in 2025.